She wakes up speaking Czech. She's in her bed in Sydney, sweat-soaked sheets twisted like ropes around her legs, her throat raw, her breath uneven. And the first thing that leaves her mouth is, "Namrila sem, jestenda." I didn't die, not yet. The room is silent. Her husband is gone, left months ago. No crew, no cameras, no makeup chair waiting outside the door. Just her, and a small notebook in her hand that she doesn't remember holding. Her name written on the cover. Not Nicole. Lenka. 3 days earlier, she disappeared. The shoot had been going smoothly. Art house drama. Minimal crew. Wild Tasmanian cliffs as backdrop. 1 take per scene. No script. Just emotional flow, the director called it. On day 4, the weather changed. She asked for 5 minutes alone near the rocks. Told Max, the only camera op, not to follow her. He respected that. She walked down a narrow path toward the edge, hair pinned back, barefoot despite the cold. He looked away for 10 seconds. When he turned back, she was gone. Vanished. No scream, no fall, no trace. Not even footprints. Search teams came. Helicopters, dogs, drones. Max couldn't explain it. His hands shook so badly the boom mic slipped into the ocean. The director threatened to sue him for negligence. But even he had no answers. She returned 71 hours later, walking barefoot out of the woods. Calm, almost glowing. She didn't ask where she was. She asked, "Do I still have the scar on my left wrist?" She didn't. The studio covered everything. Heat stroke, the press release said. Temporary memory lapse, due to stress. Nicole said nothing. But Max got a message at 2:14 a.m. that night. Airdropped to his phone. No contact name. It was a video. Her face in candlelight. Hair loose. Eyes not her own. "You were in it," she said softly. "In the other life. You sold used books. I asked you for something that smelled like autumn." She smiled. Then whispered. "There was a girl. She called me Maminka." She reached for the camera. It glitched. Froze. Then one last whisper. "Don't tell anyone. If they find out, I won't get back." He didn't reply. He just rewatched it. Over and over. Her voice in that video wasn't Nicole's accent. It wasn't even close. It was Eastern European. Perfect. Natural. Intimate. He didn't sleep that night. The next day, Nicole texted him. "I need to see the footage from that day." He told her. "There's nothing." She said, "You're wrong." Max had locked the card in a desk drawer. He hadn't touched it. But when he opened the file, his skin went cold. Because there was one more clip he didn't remember recording. It was grainy. VHS style. Nicole standing on the cliff's edge, facing the sea. But something was off. Her hair was different. Darker. Looser. Her clothes, not the black dress she wore for the scene, but a thick sweater and long gray skirt. And behind her a child, holding her hand. Then static. And then her voice. "If you see this, I didn't die. I just chose the other story." The footage haunts Max. He checks the metadata. It says the clip was recorded 3 hours after she disappeared, but there's no timestamp, no device info. Just, source, undefined. He uploads it to a private server. It won't upload. He tries to screen record it. The file comes out blank. Whatever this is, it doesn't want to be copied. Nicole hasn't left her house in days. She lives in silence now, curtains drawn, mirrors covered. She doesn't want to see her face. Because she says it keeps changing. "Sometimes, when I blink," she tells Max over tea, "my eyelashes feel wrong. Shorter. Like someone else's." He doesn't laugh. He doesn't joke. Because she shows him something that makes his throat close. A page from a book, in Czech. It's handwritten, yellowed with age. A poem. He types a few lines into Google Translate. But the poem doesn't exist. It's not indexed. It's not from any published book. Yet at the bottom, there's a printed stamp. Nika Pektvi Ustromu. Bookstore under the tree. And the address? Brno, Czech Republic. A place Max has never been. But Nicole? She says she worked there. For 6 years. That night, Nicole doesn't sleep. She starts sleepwalking, whispering things in that other voice. She opens drawers she didn't know she had, pulls out books she's never seen, flips to pages that match the handwriting in the poem. She keeps a recorder beside her bed now. At 3:33 a.m., she whispers into it. "He died today. My real husband. Aneurysm." The girl cried, and I couldn't hold her, because I was fading back here. Again, I don't think this is reincarnation. I think I'm glitching. Max starts to track it. Each time she has an episode, he notes the time. And he realizes, it happens every time the moon crosses her window. There's a 22-minute window. Each night. Same pattern. He sets up a camera. Infrared. Motion sensitive. And the next night, at exactly 3:33 a.m., she vanishes. Not metaphorically. Not poetically. Literally. Frame by frame, her body becomes translucent. Like fog evaporating. And then gone. For exactly 12 minutes and 24 seconds. When she returns, she's bleeding. A shallow cut on her forearm. And in her fist, a movie ticket. Old. Torn. Czech title. Year, 1994. Max takes it to a Czech translator. The title, Zastavení Kas. Time, paused. A film that doesn't exist. No listing on IMDb. But when he searches deep enough, through fan forums and Eastern European databases, he finds one blurry poster. A woman on a bench. A child next to her. Her face is turned away, but it's Nicole. Same jawline. Same eyes. But younger. 90s grain. As if she was born there, not here. Nicole starts coughing blood. Doctors say stress. She knows it's more. I think every time I cross back, she says, my cells don't know which rules to follow. She sleeps less. Dreams more. In one dream, she's at the bookstore in Brno. A girl runs to her. Hugs her knees. You're back, the girl says. Just for today, Nicole answers. But maybe that's enough. Max starts to believe. Fully. He books a flight to Brno. Nicole insists on coming. If I'm going to die, she says, I want to die where I lived once. But as they pack, she finds something in her closet. A coat she never bought. Inside the pocket, a matchbox. Stamped with the words. Ustromu. Zpominus. Under the tree. Do you remember? When the plane lands, Nicole doesn't speak for 3 hours. She walks like she's been there before. Knows which tram to take. Which corner turns left into the square with the bronze fountain. Max walks behind her, goosebumps lining his arms. Because every time she passes a person, they nod. Some even smile. Like they've seen her before. They reach the bookstore. A real one. Still open. Wooden doors. Ivy along the bricks. A small sign on the window. Pledem Protovaka na Kastekny Uvizek. Help wanted. And inside, behind the desk. The girl. The one from her dreams. From the poem. From her voice. The girl looks up. Smiles. Maminka. Nicole falls to her knees. The bookstore is real. The child is real. And the moment feels like something torn in half, finally trying to stitch itself back together. But Max is frozen. Because the girl, maybe 6 years old, tangled curls, scar above her eyebrow, she isn't just a figment of memory. She has Nicole's eyes. Exactly. Same green. Same quiet sadness behind them. Nicole's voice breaks when she whispers. What's your name? The girl replies, without hesitation. Eliska Lenka Kovarova. Lenka. The name from the notebook. The name that isn't Nicole, but is her, somewhere else. The owner of the bookstore steps out from a back room. Elderly. Thick glasses. No shock on his face. He looks at Nicole like an old friend. Radila ses, he says softly. You came back. Nicole doesn't speak. He walks over, lays a trembling hand on her shoulder. You worked here for years. You were quiet. You always said you had dreams that weren't yours. Until one day, you didn't wake up. Max steps forward, confused. You're telling me she died here? The old man shrugs. She just didn't return. We buried an empty coffin. A symbolic one. Eliska cried for weeks. Nicole looks at the little girl again. She remembers me? Not as clearly anymore, the man says. But she always waited. They stay the night above the bookstore. Nicole doesn't sleep. She sits by the window, holding Eliska's drawing, a picture of 2 suns. One above a red roof. One above an ocean cliff. Between them, a figure holding a child's hand. She always drew this, the owner tells her. 2 places. One mother. We thought it was just her grief. Nicole runs her fingers over the paper. It's not grief, she says. It's map. The next day, she starts coughing harder. Max wants to take her to a hospital. She refuses. If I go, they'll test me. Monitor me. And when the glitch happens again, they'll catch it. I'll never come back here. He sees it now. The choice. One world will keep her alive. The other will let her be. She writes letters that night. One to her agent. One to the press. And one, last, sealed, given to Max. Only open it if I don't return. How'll I know? He asks. She smiles. You won't find the letter if I stay. That's how you'll know. At 3:33 a.m., she stands in the bookstore's back room. There's a skylight. Moonlight spills onto her like a stage light. She holds Aliska's hand, and she begins to hum, a melody from nowhere. The same one she hummed in the dream. In the footage. The one Max once heard while editing and thought he imagined. Then the glitch. Light flickers. Books on the shelf shudder. The air folds in on itself, a warping echo of something untranslatable. Nicole gasps. Aliska steps back. And then, she's gone. No flash. No sound. Just silence. Max searches for hours. The letter is gone. He looks under furniture, in his bag, in every drawer. Nothing. But the notebook reappears on the bed. The one that said Lenka. And inside a new page. Fresh ink. Different handwriting. It says, "Thank you for believing. I'm staying." She remembered me. That was enough. Weeks pass. Back in Sydney, Max screens the footage at a small indie cinema. He calls it the glitch between lives. It goes viral, not because of the story, but because viewers see different things. Some say she fades out in one frame. Others say she's holding two girls. Some swear they heard Czech being whispered in the audio, even though there's no Czech in the file. A year later, a postcard arrives at the bookstore. Postmarked from Prague. No return address. It says, Aliska started school. She writes poems now. One of them won a prize. It was about two skies. I think you'd like it. Max returned to the bookstore once a year. Every October 14th. The date she vanished. Or, depending on who tells the story, the date she arrived. Each visit was the same. He'd bring a book for Aliska. Something with poetry. Something slow. She was always reading now. Always quiet. A little older each time, but with the same eyes, the kind that remembered more than this life should allow. She never called him Max. She called him Pan Merrick, the bookseller. The name from her drawings. From her dreams. And each time he left, he felt incomplete. Like he had almost lived something important, and then stepped away just before it ended. 2 years later, he found a file in his inbox. No subject line. No sender. Just a download. The file name was Pominas.mp4. Do you remember? He played it. It was Nicole, sitting in a sunlit garden. Hair loose. Laughing. A real laugh, not Hollywood-tuned. Just human. Aliska's voice called from off-screen, and Nicole turned with that half-smile she always did when something moved her more than words could say. Then she looked at the camera and whispered, I think this is what living feels like. The video cut out. Max dropped everything. He moved to Brno. Started working part-time at the bookstore, sweeping floors, stacking titles he couldn't pronounce. It didn't matter. The city felt true, like a memory you walk into. One day, he found a journal in the back of the shop. Handwritten. Aged. But it wasn't dusty. Inside were entries he didn't remember writing. But the handwriting was his. October 14th. She remembered me today. She said my name like it meant something again. I told her I was staying. She said, you already have. He didn't question it. Because some stories aren't meant to be explained. Some stories explain us. Years passed. People forgot the footage. Theories turned to rumors. The viral threads turned to broken links. But in Brno, in a little bookstore under ivy and cracked brick, a girl read poems to strangers on quiet afternoons. And her mother, with soft lines around her eyes and a voice that held the weight of 2 lives, shelved books no one else knew how to alphabetize. They say if you visit the store at 3:33 a.m. and you listen closely, you'll hear humming. A melody with no words. A lullaby only the in-between remember. And some say, when the moonlight hits just right, you can catch a reflection in the glass. A woman standing by the window, smiling like she finally chose the right ending. And somewhere, in a drawer Max never opened again, lies a photo that wasn't supposed to exist. Nicole in black and white, sitting on a bench, holding Aliska. Behind her, 2 skies, and a single caption, handwritten in Czech. Toto je priba, kary sem si dovolila zit. This is the story I allowed myself to live.